Hey there folks, Bob Yeager here. So, doing some grilling for the Scouts Blue and Gold banquet. That is this evening. And I wanted to do a video for some of my younger viewers. I got a lot of viewers that are, just starting their family. Sorry about the rain, the background noise, but it is what it is. But they're just starting their families, or they're just starting to get into the preparedness type modality. Perhaps you're thinking about prepping, which most of us call self-reliance and just common sense. And you wonder, Jesus, how much money did these folks make that they could keep buying all this expensive solar stuff and everything else? Well, let me just kind of help you realize something real quick, that it was taught to me by my parents, and we didn't grow up rich or even middle class. We were very poor, actually, and poor financially, let's say that, right? We had a lot of love in the house. But something they taught me, my mother taught me early on in life, and that first thing was how to cook. It may seem like such a simple thing, but you'd be surprised how many people just don't know how to cook, whether it be grilling or cooking dinner for family. I cook dinner for my family every night. My wife works at a preschool. I work at home, so I cook the meals. And I do all the grocery shopping because I'm going to cook the meals that I'm good at cooking, basically, right? But right now I'm grilling enough chicken for 56 people. And I'm going to be making enough pasta for about the same amount of people. So if I brought these portions down even further, I started with 28 really large portions, brought them down into halves. If I brought them down even further into thirds, I could easily feed 84 people, even with the same amount of pasta. And they'd have plenty of calories in that meal. Now, it's pretty rare if I'm going to be feeding that many people. This is a very rare thing. I don't usually do parties or anything like that. But here's what you have to get. The chicken and that pasta came to roughly $70, $75. That's with pasta sauce. I'm sorry, $80 with ground meat for the pasta. So 80, let's call it 85, just to be on the safe side, right? And as I came back from the little butcher shop up the road here, it's a meat market, I decided to stop at the grocery store because I'm kind of like, I wonder what the price of chicken is compared to the butcher shop. And you'd think the butcher shop would be more expensive. They were about the same price. So regular big chain grocery store, typical packs of chicken breasts, you get 4 really large ones in a pack for about $9, somewhere around there, between $8 and $9, depending on where you live at. Portion those down, right? And I'm getting to prepping in just a moment. Portion those down into portions for your family. 1 chicken breast out of this package could have fed all 4 of us, basically, because they were so big. We don't eat that much chicken. So you portion them down, and then you make something that you can make as a side that they can fill themselves with. So the main course, chicken, is not, like a lot of people think, it's not the filler. It's not the thing that fills the person up. The sides are what fill the people up, okay? If you think in those terms, I mean, we're not doing gourmet meals here. If you think in those terms, the sides are what fills people up, then you can effectively save most of your grocery budget by filling your pantry, not just your freezer, okay? So let's say this amount of chicken was about $70, which is about right. That's about right. And you wanted to stock up for your family. Well, you don't want to stock up $70 worth of chicken. Well, it's not going to keep in your fridge for longer than about 6 months. In your freezer, I mean. So let's say I want to stock up on chicken this week. I got my paycheck or whatever, and I'm like, okay, 70, 80 bucks, I'm going to buy you know, 7 packs of chicken with 4 breasts in each. It's 28. I'm going to put those down into thirds, let's say. Okay? So I'm going to get 3 times the amount. Simple, right? That's 84 pieces of chicken. Put them in packs of 3. Put them in your freezer. Done. Put them in plastic bags and then wrap them in freezer paper and then put them in there. You're going to spend an extra $15 to $20 on bags and paper, right? Maybe 15 bucks, let's say. Okay? You get that done. And you go up to Walmart, Aldi, whatever, 89-cent, 99-cent box of rigatoni, ziti, penne pasta, spaghetti, things like that. Spend about 40 bucks there. You got 40 boxes, man, right? Where you're going to spend a little bit more of your cash is on sauces and condiments and things like that. But sauces, spaghetti sauce at say like Walmart's like $1 a jar. Okay, 89 cents a jar. You want about 20 of those. Okay, so you're under 20 bucks for that. So we're at 60, 80, about 140 bucks plus the freezer wrap and stuff. We're at about $155. All right, $155. Then same at Walmart, and I don't like canned foods all that much. I'm not a big advocate of it. I'm not a fan of it, but if you're on a budget, hey, this is what you do. Corn and green beans are like 50 cents a can, right? You get 20 bucks worth. You're at about $175. Then go over to the freezer section in Walmart, and they got pre-wrapped ground meat there, ground chuck. If you don't like it, get ground turkey at John Eagle or something like that. So ground chuck, it's about $2 a roll, something like that. About $3 a roll, probably three bucks a pound at Walmart. It's probably about the same at the grocery store anyway. I like to get big bulk packs of burger meat at a butcher shop and just put it into 1 pound packs. And that's what you want to do. Break everything down into 1 pound packs. Okay, wrap it right, put it in your freezer. You have enough food right there for about 6 months for a family of 3. For about 200 bucks. 6 months. That's a lot of food, man. Add rice, add beans, right? Add seasonings and spices and butter, garlic, things like that. And that's the thing, you can make some of your sauces with the garlic, butter, basil base. You don't always have to use like red sauces and things, which bother my stomach. I can't eat that stuff all the time, right? So this is what it has to do with prepping. That's not prepping, that's life. Okay? When you got a family, you got kids and everything, that's just freaking life, man. Ouch. And no matter what you do, you're going to have to spend that money. And I'm trying to tell you how to spend it in a very reasonable way. Now, with all of that, if your regular grocery bill is $400 or $500 in a week, I just told you how to stock up your pantry and your freezer for a few months. Right? I know mostly chicken and stuff, but hey, it's good for you. Don't worry about it. You can start putting red meats in along the way, right? Well, how much does that save you if you strap down, get some canned chicken noodle soup, Walmart brand, the Great Value stuff? It's like, I don't know, 39, 49 cents a can, something like that. My kids love that stuff. I don't know why I don't like it. But mac and cheese. You know, you think of these things that kids like to eat. Think of the things that you can eat but fills you up. Okay? Don't eat too much of that stuff, but fills you up. Regular dinners, right? Then you start thinking about lunches. Well, soup and salad's probably about the cheapest stuff you can do for lunches. Soup and salad, soup and salad, soup and salad, and you'll be healthy as a result. If your monthly grocery budget was like $500 for what I just told you, soup, salads, some meats, and chicken, all the grains and everything, right? Canned foods. If you spent 500 bucks in 1 month to stock that up, you've covered your groceries for a little bit, your regular groceries for a little bit. Now don't go getting, oh, hey, look how much money I saved. I'm going to spend more on that scope for my hunting rifle. Don't be doing that. No. Because here's what you do next. Keep an eye on your food stores for your regular daily eating, okay? Now you can start each month setting, say, 100 bucks aside for preps. for things that you want to save long term. Now, here's the mistake a lot of preppers make. They buy stuff because it stores for a long time, but it don't taste very good. Stupid. I'm sorry, that's just dumb. You have to balance this. If your kids, trust me, I don't care how hungry they are. How many times have your kids not eaten something because they didn't like it? And trust me, they have to get to the point of sickness before they eat something that they don't like. That's kids, man. It's just the way it works. All right? So, get things that are fairly tasty, and that will last a long time. You know, your peanut butters and things like that, but things that you can rotate out, you replace. So, proper preps are typically things that, let me turn these heat up on each side a little bit. Things that, proper preps are typically things that you would eat on a regular basis anyway, and you're going to rotate them out as you use them up. Right? So it's not about, I'm going to stockpile this stuff for 30 years. Okay, grains aren't going to go bad if you keep them contained properly. Rice, beans, not going to go bad if you keep them contained properly. Don't worry about that stuff. A lot of canned foods last for a very long time on the shelf. Rotate your stock out. Use it. Next grocery run, replace it. Use it, replace it. You never run out of food this way. And get to a point where you have kind of this regular meal set. Like there's a couple, about 3 times a month we have a meal that we don't typically have just because we want something a little bit different. But for the most part we eat the same stuff. I just kind of rotate it out from week to week basically. We don't change that much. I might just change, this has these different sides, or this has this different sauce or different gravy on it, that kind of thing, right? And that's another thing. Learn how to cook. Take a class if you have to, but you got YouTube for God's sake. But most importantly, this grill here, I think I paid about $300 for it. Well, my wife got it for me for Father's Day. This thing's awesome. I can charcoal cook over here using natural hardwoods. I got to cook like for boiling water and stuff over here. I got propane here. Propane's fairly inexpensive. It's about $20 for a tank of propane. So go find a couple old propane tanks at a scrapyard or something. Grab those, go up to the propane place, exchange those in like Tractor Supply or something. You know, about $20. Stock up on about 5 or 6 tanks of propane and start getting used to grilling. I grill more often than not. Even when I'm making like pastas and stuff, a lot of times I use the grill. And it's only because electricity is expensive and my whole house is on electric. But I still cook in the house. I cook in cast iron mostly. And out here I cook, you know, the heavier meals like dinner meals and stuff. I use this thing constantly, and the way you take care of it is keep it clean and purchase sacrificial pieces when you have the opportunity. Like underneath this grill area, there's shields over top of my propane burners, and those are sacrificial pieces of metal. They start to fall apart. So when you have the extra $30, order a set, or 15, I think they're 15 or 16 bucks, order a set and have them on standby, so when those go bad you can take them out, scrap them, and replace them with the new ones, right? New, I don't really need the igniter, it's nice to have though. You can buy a new igniter element, you can buy new heating elements like the gas elements and everything. Over here, it's pretty simple. Just keep it clean, keep it washed out, and it'll stay pretty good. And every once in a while, give it a good coat of high heat temp paint. I haven't had to paint this one yet. And then there's an area for a smoke box and a rotisserie on this thing that you can buy separately. This is a kitchen outdoors, right? But it makes it fun to cook, and food tastes good. And it's a good investment for us because we live out in the country and the power goes out. I mean, at least once or twice every 2 months. So when you're thinking about prepping and preparedness and self-reliance, think about daily living. Don't think about, oh, I'm going to stockpile, 2,000 pounds of food for 30 years. You're likely never going to eat that food. I'm not joking around. You know how many times in just the past 100 years alone people were telling you that the world was going to end, that there was going to be nuclear holocaust and all this other stuff? And quite honestly, even in countries around the world where there was, national emergencies, war-torn countries and everything like that, although a lot of people didn't get through, those who knew how to hunt, who knew how to grow, who knew how to fish, who knew how to gather, who knew how to cook, who knew how to can, who knew how to butcher meat, who knew how to stretch meals out because they were used to doing it anyway. It was mostly the poorest people were the ones that did the most surviving because they had the skill set to survive. So when you're thinking about all this stuff, the one thing I really want you to think about is, I'm not prepping for later on, I'm prepping for being better at daily life. I'm prepping for being self-sufficient, for teaching my children good value, for teaching my children positive skill sets, and to ensure that everybody is well fed and happy. Okay? So it's not about stocking up 2 tons of food that you're probably likely never going to touch. It's about developing skill sets and getting used to, oh man, this chicken's looking good. Getting used to being responsible with your spending when it comes to your daily activities and your weekly and monthly budget. So when you learn this early on in your adult lives, and even for some of you teenagers out there, now's a good time to talk to mom and dad about, you know, how much do we budget for dinner and things like that, right? And mom and dads get a little excited when their kids start talking about that stuff because they're like, oh, look, they're preparing for life, right? Learn how to do your own taxes. That's a big one. Learn how to balance your checkbook and keep it balanced. That means don't overdraft, don't overspend, don't spend money that you don't have. Don't borrow other people's money when you don't have to, right? Learn about good debt and bad debt. Learn how to invest your money wisely. But for right now, if you're on a budget and you're not doing so hot financially, the tips I just told you about weekly meal planning and things like that is going to help you out leagues. So I hope that helps you out. I'm going to get this chicken off of here and put the next batch on. See you next time.